Greetings, everyone. So today I wanted to talk about narcissists and domination. Uh, the steroids I have to take has me very awake. So I'm going to tie this in with a personal experience that I had, but it is about domination. So when I first started chemotherapy, the first dose was really rough. Lots of serious digestive issues, like severe. And then the second chemotherapy was extremely difficult, extremely difficult. So I wound up having to get transported by ambulance to the nearest hospital the first time. I got fluids. It helped a lot. And then I felt good for a day, and then I started to feel really, really sick again. So probably all my various blood levels were probably low. You know, there's a lot of them, a lot of these levels in your blood that just tank. Hemoglobin, what else? You've got oxygen, magnesium, iron. I forgot there's two different, red blood cells, white blood cells, lots of different. Anyways, I was feeling sicker than I'd ever felt in my entire life. I never felt that sick ever in my life. And getting the fluids the first time helped. And I'm getting to the domination thing. So I gotta explain what was going on. So then I also started to have breathing issues. Part of that was my oxygen levels were probably pretty low. And paramedics really need to be more abreast and aware of severe chemo effects. And I think I might write a letter to the local ambulance service that helped me. They were great. Like 99.8% of them were fantastic, amazing. But so I was having troubles breathing, and I called, and I have a nebulizer because I have asthma. But I also had been forgetting to use my inhaler. I realized that later. So that didn't help matters. And I tried going off my medicine for many, many years, just various times, and it just doesn't work. So I just stay on it now. So I called the local, the cancer center. And then they have a 24-hour nurse. And I ran by all my issues with her, and she's like, you need to advocate for yourself. You need to get in to the emergency room. And then because I don't have a vehicle, I'm like, well, I don't really feel like I need the lights. It didn't feel like that. And she said, they can transport you to the hospital with no lights. And so I called 911. I told them what was going on. And then, or did I call? I think I called I think it was 911, I believe. And then I was going to call the ambulance service directly. I forget exactly how I did it. But then, of course, there's pushback. Well, we don't have to. I said, no, the nurse said I need to get to the emergency room. It's important. So then, all bets were off. So they sent the emergency assisters. And like I said, 99.8% of them were freaking amazing. Absolutely effing amazing. So I had, the night before, I had been to the emergency room for fluids. So it was like the second day, and I was sick again. So they all come in. I don't know, there probably are 9 or 10 of them, and took my vitals. My vitals were decent. But again, like I said, they need to be more familiar with severe chemotherapy effects, and none of them seem to really know a lot about it. And then I had a nice female paramedic she gave me an EKG, and my heart was fine. So that was really super good right there. And apparently, she told me if I decided I didn't want to go into the hospital immediately, that I would not get charged for that ambulance call. Because ideally, I really did not want to go back to the emergency room. I just wanted to be stabilized and get my breathing, because I've been down that road where my breathing gets really bad. And because I was having all these other effects from the chemotherapy, like I said, I felt sick on a level I never dealt with in my life, ever. I was kind of scared. And she had zero knowledge of what chemotherapy does to your breathing. She was really kind of irritating me. She was like kind of going with the anxiety. Now, don't get me wrong, I totally had anxiety too. But because I've had asthma for, I don't know, like almost 30 years, I'm pretty sure it was like just a normal, like asthmatic reaction as well. But I had anxiety on top of this. But she was trying to pin it all on anxiety, which of course was pissing me off more. And I admitted to some of the anxiety. So anyway, she was all right. She just needs to know more about the chemo. So this other guy pipes in from the back. Now, mind you, I've got my apartment fixed really nicely, and I'm a strong, independent female looking for good alpha. But, you know, I'm going through stuff now, so. And this is why I wanted to bring that up. So, you know, they check out your apartment, and that's fine, totally fine. But I also reflected on this later too. They got a kick out of my one of the guys, he was real nice. He got a kick out of my rug that I have. Your foot wiping rug by the door. It is a joke from Lebowski movie. So you guys know I got a weird kind of quirky sense of humor, and I have my apartment fixed very nicely. And some men are not used to seeing that. And like I said, 99.8% of these guys and gals, it was mostly men, were freaking phenomenal. But this one guy piped up, and he's like, oh, you guys know. You all know how, like, when you're really not feeling well, you can't fight like you normally would, right? Which I don't like to fight, but I will if I have to. And, you know, I was just explaining to everyone what I was going through, and that I really wanted to get my breathing in check, and that I'd rather stay home, do the nebulizer, stay home, and then if I do need to come into the hospital later, I will call them. Because I really didn't want to go. I wanted to get some rest. I was exhausted. But I was just really not myself, like extremely weak, extremely exhausted, and severe dehydration, and also bathroom issues, if you guys know what I mean, like nonstop. It was bad, you guys. So this guy in the group of EMTs, they're all like lined up in my kitchen. I'm sitting at my kitchen table, and the lady was, you know, doing my vitals and all that stuff. And this one guy, he was a tall, more Nordic looking guy. And he's like, well, this makes me mad when I think about it. What do you want them to do for you at the hospital? You guys don't even know how freaking pissed off I was when he asked me that. And I just didn't have the energy like I normally do. I was like, I'm advocating for myself. I'm extremely sick. If I need to go to the hospital, I'm going. And they will help me. Which, by the way, the doctors and nurses there went above and beyond helping me. Treated me like a queen, like I deserve. Thank you very much. And I didn't go until later, so we'll get to that. So then, this guy's like really combative. And I don't have the energy for it. And I just answered him like I told you guys. And then I told him, I said, well, guys, I said, I'm just going to do my nebulizer. I didn't have it out yet. It was all packed up. I'm trying to figure out an easier way because I don't have like anywhere to put it and just grab it and just take it out. But I did the nebulizer. It did help. After they left, I explained to them, I was like, well, I'm just going to do the nebulizer. And then if I'm going to try to get some rest, if I just get worse and I feel like I need to come in, I'll be calling you again. And so that's what I did. So I did the nebulizer. My breathing got better. I did my inhalers. My breathing got better. But overall, I really didn't feel so good. I was like, I don't even know how to describe it. The only ones that would probably understand are people that have been through chemo. And that second round really, really hit me hard. Really hit me hard. And my doctors and nurses didn't have, and the PAs didn't have all the side effects help nipped in the bud yet. And that got better as time went on. But so then I continue with all the issues. I have to take more medications for the bathroom problems. And then I just knew I needed to go into the ER. I knew it. Because I wasn't, it was just getting so bad that it was kind of like, when you're on that line and you're not really sure where it's going to go. I didn't know. And I'm like, I ain't going out yet. I'm not ready. So, and maybe, perhaps if I wouldn't have gone, I still might not have left the earth, but it just was a real bad situation. So, I think I might have this a little screwed up because I didn't feel so good, but I think I called, I can't remember if I called 911 or if I called, I don't think you have to call 911, so I probably called 911 and I said I need to go to the hospital, and I don't want the lights, because, I don't feel like that's necessary right now. And so they did come back, and the one gentleman that I worked with, he was a tall, blonde, young man. He was phenomenal, amazing, professional. They asked me, do you feel like you can walk? And I said, yeah, I do. I feel like I can walk. I was extremely, extremely weak, but I felt like I could walk. And then so I got into the ambulance, sat down, and this other guy he had dark brown hair and like one of those old 70s mustaches, the ones with the sidebars. A lot of the guys do that here. I think it's pretty cool. But this guy he was horrible human being. And he was letting me know he felt like I was wasting his time, that I was a burden to him, that, he didn't say it, but you knew that's what he was thinking. And then how dare I ask them for a ride to the hospital? Disabled veteran, 6 years honorable. I mean, not that I'm the only one that deserves respect, but I can only speak for myself, who I am. And aside from being an honorable disabled veteran, I'm an amazing human being and I deserve respect, especially as a woman. So even as sickly as I felt, I was not putting up with no bullshit from that guy. So he was like, how like a little kid huffs and puffs It's how he was acting. Super unprofessional. You know he was a narcissist. So I was like, I spoke up, and the other gentleman was sitting in the back of the ambulance. He was asking me the assessment questions. He was extremely professional, very, very well done, you know. The one in the front, you know, huffing and puffing like a 5-year-old. Initially he was gonna, like, they have these weird seatbelt things that go over you, and they like go over automatically now. Like, whereas back in the day, you would have to fasten it yourself, but it goes like automatically. And he was going to try to help me, but he was acting like it was like he was going out of his way in that. And it got me real irritated. And I said, at least you could pretend to be professional or something. I said something like that. You know, at least if you're going to be rude, you could at least try to pretend that you can do your job. Or, you know, I said something on that order. I wasn't holding back. I was pissed off. And then I continued answering the questions from the young man, you know, the blonde Nordic. This guy was the nice Nordic guy. And very, super, extremely professional. He's going to go far. I think he's already a supervisor. He's going to do a real good job. And I answered the assessment questions, and then I also was saying, I said, if this was you in my situation, you would want to advocate for your life, and you would do exactly what I'm doing. Because, see, I can appear really strong and tough on the outside, but my body was breaking down hard, real bad. It was bad, you guys. It was so bad. And like I said, I was planning on finding myself a good man before all this happened. I just got through that hip replacement and finally was recuperated with that, and I felt good that I could start, you know, looking in the waters, if you know what I mean, and then this, you know, so it's the way it is. So I'm by myself, and I got to do what I got to do. And then as this mustache guy kept acting, you know, just real nasty as he was driving, I told the other gentleman, I said, you know, some people are just not cut out for this kind of work. Or I don't know, I don't think I said it first. No, I didn't say it quite yet. But then it didn't take long to get to the hospital. And then what should have happened is this guy who was driving should have gotten out and held my hand as I'm trying to get out, because there was no railing. There was no way, nothing to really hold on to as I was trying to get out. And when I tell you guys I was weak, I was insanely weak. And I almost fell down because I was trying to get out of that ambulance and I didn't have anything to hold on to. That guy should have helped me out, and he didn't. He just sat there and watched me. And then now you got done pissed me off. That's when I said to the other gentleman, which I'm sure they have to deal with this fool all the time. I said, or I might have said it earlier than this, said, if you don't have empathy or compassion, you shouldn't be working in this job. And he said, I agree. And I have a funny feeling that guy, I don't know how, I do think he was a supervisor, but I don't know how high up the chain he was. But I believe he was taking notes on this fool. And I could have fell down. That would have been, oh man, you guys don't even know. If I'd have fell down, shit would have been so bad for that guy. So fucking bad. So I'm not going to let it go. I'm not going to let it go because this guy is just like, he's out of control. And you know he's a misogynist, narcissist. There's a lot of, in the area I live, there is a lot of misogyny, but not all the men here are like that. So I would never categorize all the men like that. You got the healthy alphas that were joking with me and very supportive and saying, you know, when they were in my apartment, you know, If you need us to come back, just let us know. They were really great. But you always got the one, don't you? And that particular guy that was going to let me fall down on the cement, he needs to go. And I let the entire emergency room staff know about that fool loudly in front of him. And then the Nordic supervisor guy that I was telling you, I said it several times, if you don't have empathy or compassion, you shouldn't be working in this job. And he agreed with me. I was pretty sure the way he was acting, like kind of down low, that he was going to make sure it got addressed. But I just wanted help. And so then I think a nurse led me to a room, and then they did a lot to help me. They were absolutely incredible, man. Dr. B was the one. He had this big, long German name. I didn't know how to pronounce it. It's called him Dr. B. And then my nurse, I've forgotten her name again. Might have been, I don't know. I'm not going to say her name, but I think I do know her name. She was phenomenal. Then at the end, when I was getting ready to get discharged, because I was there all night, they did like all kinds of lab tests on me. She shared with me that she was a breast cancer survivor 20 years. And she held my hand, and because it was just hard, She held my hand and she's like, "You're going to get through this." And we were both crying, of course. And she was just, I want to go back, like once I get through my treatment, and I know I'm going to be a survivor. I'm going to, 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, I believe that. And I want to go back and thank her. But as far as, and Dr. B too, and the other Italian New York guy that I got along with really well, he was a doctor there. Phenomenal man. He was the first doctor I saw. That's why I got along with him so well. New York, Italian, come on now. So I kind of ran it by that particular nurse about this really rude dude. And she's like, what I've learned is, she's like, usually just let it take its course. And initially that's what I was going to do. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, no, this dude's going to get someone killed. He's going to get someone killed. So when I had to do the rating, like how you do the hospital or emergency service gives you this email, rate your help. And I rated everyone. I wanted to make it very clear that everyone there was, and I used a lot of my military lingo because it's similar. I wanted them to know that they were outstanding, phenomenal, and they did an amazing job. But I let it be known about this guy, and then I described what he looked like because I didn't know his name. And that he was literally going to let me fall on the ground. And, all his unprofessional behavior, his contempt, his huffing and puffing, all that stuff. And I think with, a loose cannon like that, doing paramedic and EMT work, I think they're going to keep an eye on it. And if you got a really smart supervisor that's not a narcissist, most specifically, they're gonna make sure they get rid of a guy like that. He's no good for them. He's nothing but a liability. Because I'm telling you, I really came close to falling. And if I would have fell, you guys know shit would have been like so bad. So friggin' bad. It would have been bad. It would have been so bad. Not for the hospital, because they didn't do it, but. So anyways, that's my story about Narcissists and Domination. And I thought about it after I started to feel better, like why that one, the Nordic nasty one, the one that was like, well, how do you know that they're going to help you at the hospital? And then later, because, at the time I was so sick, like I couldn't think clearly. I was like, wow, dude was trying to dissuade me from going to the hospital. Do you guys know how bad that is? When I was that sick. Now, if it was, sometimes you do have people that take advantage and stuff. And I could sort of understand if someone was doing that, like, but again, too, it's really not the EMTs or paramedics' job to do that, to be honest. And they might get mad at me for saying that, but I don't think that's your job or their job. So I thought about what set that guy off. I think the Nordic Nasty. I think it was he walked into a strong woman, female veteran, apartment, fully stocked with food, like set. And I was kind of like, sort of like in a way I was in command. I wasn't taking command of them like that, but just because of how my personality is, and it's a serious situation, so you've got to, what do you call it, mind your P's and Q's, and you got to have things together. So I don't have a choice. I got to be organized. I got to tell them exactly what's going on. I'm not there to argue. I didn't say that I was not there to argue, but that's like my personal opinion. And that he didn't like that. He wanted to be dominating and domineering, just like Mustache Guy. That wasn't going to work. And I was going to let it go, but then I thought about it. I'm like, Mustache Guy is going to get someone killed. So I couldn't. So anyways, that's my story. I hope that's helpful. I do want to start a narcissist channel. I just don't know how to. I want to transfer all my videos, my narcissist videos, from this channel. Well, I'm not going to transfer them completely. I want to copy them onto the new narcissist channel, and I don't know how to do that yet. So if I have narcissist ideas, I guess I'll record them here. I already have another standalone channel somewhere. I think it's Eyes to See 333 somewhere here. But I may want to start something with a different name. We'll see. Because my narcissist videos were doing really well, and now for some completely weird, bizarre reason, they don't get past 20. You guys know what's up. Have a nice day.